The Book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 12. Wisdom is glorious and never fadeth away. Yeah, she is easily seen of them that love her and found of such as seek her. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to start off as always by giving all praise, all honor, all glory unto YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, bahasham, Rakha, Kudash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach and who rule well, who taught us this truth through the power and spirit of YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the elect out there, whoever you might be. And shalom to the 140 and 4,000. It's the brother Amawan Pada for the GMS Denver camp, doing another lesson, and it's going to be on the topic of wisdom and its importance. All right. You see, wisdom is key. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right. Mainly of the scriptures, man. The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the will of YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI. Understanding the prophecies and how they're playing out in order. All right. That's the key, man. You can only get that through YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, sending the Holy Spirit down unto you. All right. Because a lot of people are walking around without the true wisdom of what's really going on. All right. And wisdom is likened into a female spirit right here in this instance. In the Book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 6th chapter. Okay. And you gotta treat her like that's your wifey. You know what I'm saying? Like wisdom. You know, you gotta really fall in love with wisdom. All right. Because that's what gets you ahead of the game, man. All right. And we have the wisdom of YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI. And, you know, it is glorious to have it. It's what sets you apart from the rest of the crowd, man. And we have the highest level of wisdom. But I'm going to tell you what really sparked me to do this lesson was, you know, being online and you seeing all these fitness gurus and whatnot. You know, you see Jake getting into the herbs and, you know, just regular, you know, 2/3 Jake out there, you know. I seen this one dude, you know, this one cat, he was in the hood and he was doing a video talking about intestinal cleanses, you know. So I'm like, yo, the spirit of the Lord is really, you know, engulfing the earth, man. Jake getting back into the natural remedies and things like that. That's part of our culture, man. As the Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians out there. All right, that's a form of wisdom. Understanding how to heal the body. All right. And it's out there for those who seek it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how wisdom works, man. You have to toil and labor for it, you know. And if these 2/3 out here can apply wisdom, then how much more us that are serving YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI. Now, thing is, wisdom has to be accompanied with something else called discipline. All right. Wisdom plus discipline equals power. And this is something that we must learn to apply in our lives. Speaking to myself first and foremost, man. And you grow in it. You know what I'm saying? All right. We've been taken out of the world, you know, living ignorantly. And we've been brought into this marvelous light of YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI. How much more should we be applying wisdom and discipline in our lives, man? Okay. Now, let's read a little bit more. All right, verse 13, it says, she prevented them that desire her in making herself first known unto them. Whoso seeketh her early shall have no great travail, for she shall find her, for he shall find her sitting at his doors. To think therefore upon her is perfection of wisdom, and whoso watcheth for her shall quickly be without care. All right. You see what I'm saying? Pretty much you're not going to be found in these stressful predicaments if you apply wisdom. In most cases, man, a lot of things can be avoided. You know, your situation can be made better when you apply wisdom. Okay. And you have to think and ponder on wise things to do. I mean, you can't just be like a brute beast out here going off your emotions and how you feel, because that will lead you to destruction, ultimately. All right, that's what the rest of these people are doing out here. All right, they didn't attain to wisdom, you know, and it's very important. Verse 16, it says, "For she goeth about seeking such as are worthy of her, showeth herself favorably unto them in the ways, and meeteth them in every thought." That's right, man. You shouldn't be doing nothing without care, without applying wisdom, especially us in this truth. We got to apply wisdom when we leave out the door, when we go, you know, to take care of business at our jobs. You got to apply wisdom. When you're talking to people out here in the world, you have to apply wisdom. Okay? The Lord loveth those that use wisdom. Let's get a quick precept on that. And here we have it right here. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 28. "For the Most High, YAHAWASHI, loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom." All right? We come into this truth. You ain't coming in here to be no dummy. All right? You're supposed to be growing in wisdom, faith, knowledge. All right? This is what we're here to do. All right? You don't just, know the truth that you're an Israelite and then that's it. Nah, man, we have to grow in this thing. We have to grow in different aspects of our lives, man. And that's what wisdom will do for you. It will take you to different levels, man, when it's applied with discipline. The Lord is looking for that, man. When it comes to your diet, working out, exercising, all these things, man, because they all go hand in hand. Reading, studying, these things require discipline. And, to apply that is actually wisdom. Because you can have knowledge of things. All right, you can know all this stuff, but if you don't have the discipline to apply it, then is it really wisdom? They all go hand in hand. And this is what pleases YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI. Okay, so we should be applying wisdom in all that we do. From the time we wake up to the time we close our eyes, man. Verse 17. "For the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love." Now here's the point I wanted to make right here. Showing you that wisdom and discipline go together. All right? You see, because without the application of both of these, the things that you know is useless, man. You can watch videos of working out and you can know all the exercises. You can know all the different nutritional the foods to eat to better yourself. But if you don't have the discipline to be consistent and to apply these things to your life, then it's really just foolish to know all these things, man. All right, wisdom and discipline go together. All right. And this is a key thing to add to your spirit, because it's going to require wisdom and discipline to make it out of this place, man. Of course, faith. But through your faith, you're going to have these things. You're going to discipline yourself because you believe in YAHAWASHI. So when the food is scarce, all right, Esau brings forth that orchestrated famine or whatever. All right, people are starving to death. And Esau comes with the RFID microchip. It says, if you take this chip, we'll be able to, get you some food, you and your family and whatnot, shelter, safety. You're going to have wisdom to understand that ain't the way. And then knowing that, you're going to have to use the discipline. Because you got people out there that have wisdom, they have knowledge that the mark of the beast is the RFID microchip, that it's a sin unto death. But are they going to have the discipline to apply that wisdom? You see? They go hand in hand, because you're going to have Israelites that know what it is and still take it because they lack discipline. All right. Discipline is very important, man. The Lord YAHAWASHI had 12 disciples. He had more than 12, but we understand that, the 12 that were closest to him, they were his disciples. And, it's a position of, how should I say this? A position of difficulty, man. You have to be disciplined. It's not always easy. You have to fight against your own flesh. That's what this is about, man. Fighting against the flesh and overpowering it through the spirit of YAHAWASHI to make the better decisions, man. And that applies to everything in our lives, man, especially now that we're in this truth. We have to be on a high level of wisdom and discipline, man. You know, and when you get in that mode of like, yeah, I got to work out, I got to eat better, all right, I got to be more disciplined, that's the beginning of you applying wisdom, man. All right, and it really all stems back to what? The fear of the Lord. Let's get that precept real quick, because when you fear the Lord, man, you're not just doing any damn thing. You're going to try to take care of your body, your temple. You're going to try to do the things you need to do to please the Lord. You're going to read, you're going to study. You're going to do your videos. All right. Here it is right here. The book of Proverbs, chapter 9 and verse 10, it says, the fear of the Lord, YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. Yeah, the knowledge of the will of YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI. Okay. You see what I'm saying? But it begins with the fear of the Lord, man. Having that respect and that reverence to do the right things, because with that is going to come discipline and the application of wisdom in your life. You're not going to just be out here doing whatever like the rest of these people out here, man. You see? And also wisdom and discipline, it comes with abstaining from certain things, man. Okay? Like I said, I use the diet, for an example. We use that quite often, man, getting your body, your temple in a proper condition. You have to abstain from certain things that ain't good for you. That takes discipline. You can't be eating all those sugary foods, man, because it's bad for you. It's bad for your body, which is the temple of YAHAWASHI. Right? You have the wisdom knowing that certain foods are bad for you. You have to have the discipline to abstain from them, man. And that's true wisdom right there. You see? So, just something I was thinking about, man, because we all could apply more wisdom and more discipline in our lives, especially now as we're nearing closer and closer to the end of society. We should be mastering ourselves, man, overcoming certain things in our lives that had a strong hold on us. Some of us are, working on getting in shape. All right. So you sincere Akim out there that ain't in the condition that you want to be in, and even you Aquat out there that might be listening, you women, hey, man, it's going to take discipline. All right. It's going to take abstaining from certain things that make your flesh feel good. And I really kind of was thinking on this after we got out of the Day of Atonement fast. You see, having that discipline to not eat or drink for 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? It actually, I'll speak for myself personally. I actually felt better spiritually and physically. You see, the next day I had tons of energy. You know what I'm saying? But at first, I ain't gonna lie, man. At first, I was feeling, tired and sluggish. You're hungry, for the first few hours. But then something happens, man. After you get through, those first few painful hours, you know what? You start to feel the joy of the benefits of fasting. All right. Like I said, I had more energy. I had a more clear mind. I felt overall better. And that just came with a little bit of discipline, man, to not eat and not to drink for 24 hours, man. So this shows you on a small level the benefits of applying discipline, man, which is really wisdom. All right. So I want to bring this out real quick. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 6, all right, otherwise known as Sirach, chapter 6. But let's jump down to the point I want to make here. This is Sirach chapter 6 and I'll start at verse 18. It says, my son, gather instruction from thy youth up, so shalt thou find wisdom till thine old age. It's a continual thing, man. Adding wisdom to yourself, man. That's what we're here to do. Verse 19, it says, come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth. See, it takes work. And wait for her good fruits. For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon. Yeah, it don't take much, man. It starts off, that first step, and then being consistent, you know what I'm saying? And applying the discipline. All right. You have to read to gain more knowledge of the scriptures. You have to, look up words and go into the etymology of certain things to gain more wisdom, man. And before you know it, you keep applying that process, and you're going to become wise, man. You see? And it don't take that much. Verse 20, it says, she is very unpleasant to the unlearned. He that is without understanding will not remain with her. So a foolish person is not going to apply the discipline it takes to obtain wisdom. All right? You see what I'm saying? Verse 21, she will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial, and he will cast her from him ere it be long. Okay, so those who can't, how should I say this? Those who don't have discipline, they're not able to obtain wisdom, man. So they're going to remain in a low state of being, a low state of understanding. You see? And, it's not always easy. For example, we use the whole working out, fitness as an example. Sometimes you just don't feel like fucking working out, man. You're tired from your job or you feel like doing something else that's more fun or enjoyable. But you got to have that discipline, man, and bite the bullet and do what you got to do. All right? And not give up. You got to be consistent, man. Consistency is key, especially in this truth. You got brothers who come in, or so-called brothers who come into this thing and they stop reading. They stop going to camp. They stop, making videos, and they fall off. And they start to wither away, when it comes to wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Then next thing you know, they're in the world, man, getting ready to eat a fucking missile or to die in the famines or, whatever perils that are said to come upon the earth, man. That's judgment. You see, we are told to be consistent, man, in this truth. All right, starting with the elder apostles on down of Great Millstone, they're, good examples of this, man. All right. You see, they instilled that discipline in us to try to make a video every day. Minimum of 3 a week. That requires you to have discipline and to get into the scriptures, man. And that's why the men of Great Millstone are on such a level. All right, the Lord is dealing with Great Millstone, and he has us out here being disciples, man. All right. Disciple goes back to discipline. Now, verse 22. It says, for wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. All right. So this is a gift, man. If the Lord gave you the desire of wisdom, man, that's a gift. Verse 23, give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel, and put thy feet into her fetters and thy neck into her chain. Because wisdom, it requires, like I said, for you to cut certain things off, man, to kind of, go through a painful process at first, man. It can feel like you're imprisoned a little bit, man. Instead of going to the club every weekend, you take that time to work out. You take that time to read, study. It can feel like, you're putting your own self in shackles. All right, and you are. But it's for your own betterment. You see, that's why it says that put thy feet into her fetters and thy neck into her chain. Bow down thy shoulder and bear her. It means, deal with it, man. And be not grieved with her bonds. Okay? Because the flesh just wants to be comfortable all the time. The flesh don't want to sit down and actually study and concentrate. The flesh don't want to, do certain things, man. But you have to overcome that through the spirit of YAHAWASHI. All right. Come unto her with thy whole heart and keep her ways with all thy power. You got to hold on to wisdom, man. Hold on to that discipline and that consistency with all your might, because there's benefits, man. Great benefits. Verse 27, search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go. All right. For at the last thou shalt find her rest, and that shall be turned to thy joy. It's going to bring you much joy. Imagine you finally buckling down, on your diet. You stop eating all that bullshit, man. You've been consistent with your workouts, man. You've been getting up even when you don't fucking feel like it. You look up a month later. You look in the mirror and you like, man, you see the progress. You feel better. You look better. You see, that's the joy right there. The same thing applies to this truth, man, when it comes to studying and listening to the elders and taking notes. You'll find out that you're coming up on a level at some point, man, because we all started in this thing as babes, you know what I'm saying? But through discipline and applying, wisdom, look where we at, man. All right. It says, verse 29, then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. Because when you apply this wisdom and discipline that we get from these scriptures, it's going to lead to salvation, man. Because it takes discipline to follow YAHAWASHI. You have to abstain from a lot of the things that the world indulges in to follow YAHAWASHI. Okay? And it's going to lead to glory. Verse 30. I'll read a couple more. It says, for there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace. And that goes into royalty, man. All right. The true royalty, the true riches are, treasuries of wisdom and knowledge and understanding, man. All right. Verse 31. Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and shalt put her about thee as a crown of joy. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. And this is a battle of your mind here, man. Okay, this is all a mental, spiritual battle that we're involved in. All right, and we're trying to grow our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And it takes discipline and consistency, man. So just something I wanted to, bring out, you know what I'm saying? Something that was on my mind coming out of the Day of Atonement. And like I said, looking at different Instagram reels of these fitness gurus, man, these jakes, on their nutrition, tip and whatnot. If these people of the world can apply discipline to their lives for their betterment, how much more us, man, that are serving YAHAWASHI. All right. I got one more, and I'm gonna close this out. It's kind of late, but this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 19 and verse 5. Now it says, whoso taketh pleasure in wickedness shall be condemned, but he that resisteth pleasures crowneth his life. You see, it says resisting pleasures, man, having the discipline to abstain from certain things. All right. You see, and we all know what it is, that we have to abstain from in our personal lives, things that are holding us back from what we want to be, from where we want to be at. Now is the time to really just buckle down and apply that, man, because time is short, man. The Lord's getting ready to wrap this thing up, so we got to really tighten the screws up, man. You got Esau in his military. If you saw that speech that Pete Hegseth did, the Secretary of the Department of War, pretty much telling his troops, his generals, on down, that they're going to have to tighten up, man, and be more disciplined, and, in their workout regimen and their training and all that, because they're getting ready to go to World War III. Well, guess what, man? How much more us, all right, that are in the army of YAHAWASHI, the spiritual army, all right? So, that being said, I just wanted to bring that out, man. We have to, apply discipline, resist certain pleasures, and grow in this thing, man. All right? And we can all, apply this to our lives, man. Speaking to myself first and foremost. And pray to the Lord for these things. You know what I'm saying? You got to pray for it. All right? Pray for more discipline in your life. Pray for more wisdom, more faith in these things, man, that are spiritual, that leads to salvation. Because it's going to be needed in these last days, man. So with that being said, I'm going to end the lesson right here. Hopefully it was edifying to the elect out there, whoever you might be. I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory unto YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, bahasham, rakha, kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach and who rule well, who taught us this truth through the power and spirit of YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, and Kwam Yasharallah, and the Bible Ball. Shalom to the elect.